guys, Fatty here. I am going to be presenting you with the good old Bard guide from the one and only Baz. He is the Bard that was responsible for pocket healing me in CBT, and he is also going to be the Bard that's going to be part of our tier cup team. So, at the very least, you know that if I trust this guy with a $500,000 tournament, there is going to be some reliability to it. For stats, and this is something that you can use for PvE and PvP, is we're going to go with Vit 99, Int 10, and Dex 95. We scale with Dex, and Vit gives us tankiness. So this one is pretty straightforward. You also have the option for making a preset with strength, and that's while using the tier set, especially if you're grinding for more damage. It offers more DPS actually than the other builds, as we've tested. And as for skills for our build here, which is essentially full support, right? You have your buffs, you have your res, you have your heals, all your utility. Bard is pretty straightforward, right? Your only real variation is to maybe use Unchained Serenade with Flame Rhapsody while proccing your Wormtail cards for a red cut. Bit of a spoiler, red cut actually does more damage than going for a double strafe auto proc if you're trying to do the extra DPS. Red cut has pretty OP scaling that you would think that double strafe would do more damage, but as we've tested, it actually does not, right? Even if you have it maxed. So full support Bard. And as for our feather setup is also pretty standard. You go for PvP damage reduction and overall percent reduction. 4 yellow and 1 purple always. You only ever really go 3 yellow and 2 purple if you're only doing PvE and you're never touching PvP, which if you're playing this game, chances are you probably are going for the PvP, right? So always go 4 yellow, 1 purple, and just follow what we have on the screen. As for enchants are on the screen. Just remember that if the meta does change from mostly physical dominated, your enchants will shift as well. So make sure you have different presets. As for the non-special stats, you scale off of Dex and physical, but a huge majority of DPS at the moment are crit classes. So anywhere that you can get crit resist, go for it. And as for cards, I'm just going to go ahead and put it up on the screen here real quick. Just go ahead and pause it if you want to. Just go ahead and copy that. A bit of a spoiler here. We didn't really get to enjoy a lot of the cards, or not all of the cards in CBT. So, certain things, let's say like if you're fearing a lot of like these Asuras or some of these like these paladins, these Sacri paladins, then it might be worth just stacking, specific cards that counter that. Like for example, like Orc Baby. And now Barding. As for Barding, what we learned with Barding was to keep it balanced. After level 29, it does start to get really expensive. You can level them all evenly until 29, but if you are going to push one of them beyond that, make sure you do the top left one, which gives you the most PvP reduction. I know it says P attack, M attack at first, so it can be a little bit deceptive, but trust me, it gives you the most PvP damage reduction values. And as for pets tend to die fast. So realistically, the most value they give are the passive percent stats you gain per tier that they go up. However, Squidget and Child of Earth are always going to be a staple along with King Pig. You can opt for the Owl to help your team deal more damage if they are physical based classes, so he works a bit for more utility here as well. Because remember, for pets from tier 0, they give you 0.2% of your HP, SP, and your offensive stats. That means that every time it goes up a tier from tier 0 to tier 1, they give you another 0.2%. So that really does add up, and it makes a lot more sense to kind of like get your pets to like level 5 before you start to decide on maybe maxing one of them like Child of Earth, right? And then next up for Divine Armament. This one is not too complicated really. Passion, if you're trying to DPS or grind, then Legendary is your bread and butter. And for armor, you obviously go your Goivni set, and for DPS, you go tier over White Wing. It actually is, as of CBT testing more DPS than the White Wing one. White Wing does give you percent P damage, but especially this early, raw slash like flat P attack offers way more value. Once you start scaling up in the later part of the game, then maybe, you know, White Wing can kind of take its place. But as of right now, this is the go-to. Once your P attack scales harder later down the line, then obviously, you know, you can start revisiting the White Wing set to test. As for your offhand, well, I mean, you literally only have like one real choice, right? So just, you know, kind of just go for that. And as for what equipment to refine and which to plus first, which one to refine first, well, the good thing about Bard is, you know, once you get everything to plus 10, you're kind of like set a little bit. Once you get into the later parts of the game, when you get to like the later accessories, then maybe you start scaling those up. But for the most part, getting plus 10 on everything, pretty solid. Getting your plus 15 bonuses is going to be huge, especially for your weapon. But unless you start scaling the rest of your stuff first, try not to get too, you know, try not to gamble too much. But if you're a gambling man, obviously I can't stop you. Go for it. For your guild skill and medals, which ones you should upgrade? Guild skills and guild medals are going to be on the screen here. You don't really have much of a choice here. Just don't upgrade the pet one unless you want to upgrade the HP for your Child of Earth, for example. If you have some extra fame, you'll probably end up maxing the top ones before your guild can start upgrading the guild laboratory anyway. So, you know, it is a bit of an option. But again, it is down to personal choice. And essentially, that's it. Bard really low skill floor, but can get to like medium-ish like skill ceiling if you want to really min-max your supportive capabilities, your healing, and your DPS potential as well. When we have more updates on that in the future, we'll try to update it. Obviously, there's going to be like certain cards like Dark Priest, for example, that could potentially work well with it, but you know, that's something that we'll have to kind of like check and you know, run some tests with, especially since a lot of cards are not the same as they used to be. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. It's been Little Fatty, man. Peace.